In 2014, Diana went viral for her 10-piece performance installation, My Lingerie Play. Since then, she's been continuing to bring attention to slut-shaming against women with her project. She'll star in July 14th's My Lingerie Play installation 910, the final installation at Joe's Pub. But before then, she's here to chat with us. So welcome.
Hi.
Thanks so much for being here.
I'm so happy to be. Where's
the camera? You can just
right
look at us.
Great.
Right
Hi,
at us is
people.
fine. Yeah.
Hello. Hi.
So we'll first start off by showing a video that you released a couple years ago about the play. So we can play that right now.
The solution is not to tell women to cover up. The solution is not to tell women to keep chaste. The solution is not to tell women to stop being sexual beings. We are not asking to be harassed, abused, talked down to, or violated, no matter what we are wearing. The solution is to change the way we are talked about. For being a sexualized woman does not strip us of our humanity.
So that gave a very short description, and for those people who haven't, read the background of it, would you like to give a little bit of like a description of the inspiration behind it?
Sure, absolutely. My Lingerie Play is 10 underground performance installations in my lingerie, staged in an effort to provide a saner, safer, more respectful world for women to live in. So the video that you just saw, that was from the 24-hour installation in Times Square, installation 7 out of 10. There's installation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then installation 9 is a huge 80-minute concert play, and the culmination of My Lingerie Play, and it's a show in my lingerie with the singing, songwriting, talking about my life growing up as a woman wearing lingerie and how that translates into the streets of New York and into the wider scope of the world, and how the sexual woman is mistreated in this world.
And do you remember the first piece of lingerie you bought? Because I feel like that's a very, it's an experience for every woman.
Yeah, high school, 16, between 16 and 17, red F me bra, I call it the red from Calvin Klein. Exciting stuff is happening over there. Calvin Klein bra, and high school, that was it. High school was like its first inception, lingerie on my bod.
And how has your perspective of lingerie changed over the years?
Well, then you come to Joe's Pub to find out.
Right,
that is the journey of how it went from something that owned me to something that I got to own. And I got to wear it for my pleasure and my safety. And now I think it's awesome.
Because there's definitely a media representation out there of what lingerie is.
Yeah.
And how does that differ from, the way that you view lingerie, the way that other women view lingerie?
Well, it's, it certainly brings up a ton of body image issues that, My Lingerie Play was created in retaliation of something, in that I felt there was a system at play that was keeping me down, that didn't let me be seen as a woman, and I just wanted to create a space for myself that was a space for my authenticity and my body and my skin and my race and my background and everything like that. And so I actually worked in collaboration with this lingerie company called Nais Lingerie, and she's an independent lingerie designer. And she's a woman, and she also created her lingerie line to act in retaliation of the systems at play. She wanted it to be lingerie for athletic bodies, for diverse women. And I think when you're constantly shown an image of thinness, it can just be a very damaging thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, let's talk about your shirt now.
Okay, great.
Which is awesome.
Thank you. Catcalling sucks.
Yes.
You can get it on mylingerieplay.com. Yep. And it's one of the wider messages of My Lingerie Play is that catcalling and street harassment is really just a micro percentage of the injustice that exists all throughout the world, and how women's bodies are mistreated and degraded and entitled. There's a lot of sense of entitlement of our bodies, and I find that catcalling and street harassment is just an example of that. So catcalling sucks because entitlement of our body sucks.
Right. And back in 2014, when your project started, that there was a lot of discussion at that point about catcalling. And do you think that anything has changed since, or do you think it still persists?
I think a lot has changed because people have spoken up, and I think that it's our job as artists and as people within this world to not necessarily solve the problem within our lifetimes, but to make noise for people who otherwise are silent about it. So our job as reactionary people is just to speak up and say, hey, guess what? We have a problem, and that's all we're responsible for. Is it less? I have experienced less actually this year. I can't say the same for my friends, and I can't say the same for the world when I'm reading about horrific stories in the news.
Right.
And I'm reading about friends' Facebook posts about this, that, and the other thing happened to me in the street today, and my friend just got grabbed under her dress on the train. And that's just something that we let it happen. We see it happening. You know, Black Lives Matter. We see it happening, and I don't think it's solved. It's not solved, and it's not solved until enough people make noise about it, and that might take a lifetime. But it's be silent or die. You know, what are you gonna do?
Right. And speaking up is something that I think it's so important, but at the same time it's also so difficult for women because of what you get back for doing it.
For real? For real, yeah.
And I'd love to hear, what did you get back because of that?
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. There was, when a project goes viral like that, you get a tremendous amount of support, and you also get a tremendous amount of backlash. And so I think it's safe to say that for every person that either gave me a rape or a death threat or a you're an idiot threat, there were 10 people to combat that person. So there's like a push and pull there. Every time I yell back to every single cat caller, and every single time I'm told something disrespectful in the street, it's a you cannot talk to women that way, and usually it's a public something or another. And it's always defensive, and there's never an apology. There's never this like ownership of what that means to verbally attack a woman like that in the street. And so my theory is, I was asked a question. I was in a Swatch store fixing my watch, and I was wearing this shirt, and one of the employees approached me, and he was just like, talk to me about your shirt. What does it mean? Catcalling sucks. And I told him, it sucks. And he asked me, well, what do you want us to say to women when we think you're beautiful? And I told him nothing, absolutely nothing. We don't leave our homes needing that attention from you. We don't leave our homes wishing someone stops us on the street to tell us we're beautiful. You don't owe us that, and we don't owe you a reaction, and we don't owe you a positive reaction. You're just not entitled to this sphere of space because it's something men do not have to deal with, and it's something that our bodies are subjected to.
And do you feel like that he took that in and he understood that?
Absolutely, and it was awesome, and he totally understood. And that was the other reason of ensuring that I wanted this project to go viral. It was a very calculated decision that it would be photographed and filmed, we'd make videos, we'd have social media outreach, because we knew that it was a message for the masses, that it couldn't just live and die within a small black box theater, that we wanted to essentially create our own commercial, And I think, and I think that kind of upfront, very direct approach, it changes people.
Right.
And
And it's a messaging that I think, is still obviously very relevant today, especially when you see stories like Brock Turner come up, where that was another situation where, involving assault, where a woman had to sort of justify that this was wrong, that it happened to her.
And it was, to me, when I read her letter and when I watched all the videos and I followed that case, it felt like this is the first time someone has spoken up so vocally about it. In my lifetime, I don't remember ever in my lifetime coming across an account so visceral and visual and direct and to the point. And I'm forever grateful to her for writing that letter and publicly putting out there. And I think it should be a letter that we should be reading when we're 16 years old, because really that's when it's starting, And I don't think I even learned what rape was until like 2 years ago. Was I like, oh my God, that's what that is. And it's just essential that we speak about it.
Yeah, and I remember even when I was, I'd be told to smile on the street all the time, and I never knew why it made me mad until about 2 years ago when this conversation started. I said, oh, now I see why.
now,
angry
right.
after all this time.
Right.
But there was no conversation about it, 10 years ago when it was happening more often than not. So
Yeah, and I'm still shamed for making noise, you know what I mean? And it's still like, why can't you just like move on with it? I don't know. And I think about this all the time, how do Buddhists do it? Like, how do the pacifists just like, it's cool, man. Like, they're just like saying what they want because there's so much underlying it.
Right.
It's just, there's so much of a microaggression that it's actually an aggression.
Right.
And the reason why those street installations, why I decided to wear sunglasses, was because I wanted to look into people's eyes and I wanted to see them taking in the information without taking a piece away from me.
And Ro, do we have any questions from Facebook?
Not specifically about catcalling, but as a woman myself in New York City, I totally understand that feeling. I feel like we all experience it. So thank you, Diana, so much for what you do.
Yeah. Cool.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Diana. And again, you can see My Lingerie play on July. 14th. Oh gosh, I don't have it in front of me. July 14th.
Yep.
At Joe's Pub.
We're sold out though, but wait
Oh
list.
no! Wait list. Get on that wait list for sure. It sounds amazing, and thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.